Hello, Bryce Henry Reader, man. I'm working on old 34. I converted to an old 36. I'm getting ready to go ahead and put the piston rings on right now. I'm installed the piston. I dry fitted the piston to the cylinder to make sure that everything worked. Now I'm going to go ahead and put these rings on. You got to make sure that the cut grooves are facing up towards the pin. If the pin's facing down, then down towards. So what I do is I take my fingers and I roll them, and that's how I put it on. And then I'll move it down to the next groove. You want to break them. Break them and get them stuck. Really easy to do if you're not careful. I like the cable rings, so they're a little tougher. They're made in Italy and they're a lot better ring in my opinion. Carbon ones, they break real easy. Alright, the pin's on here facing the intake. Place the ring on top. You just saw how I put that one on. Just take your fingers carefully, you don't cut yourself, and roll it there and it's on. That quick. So the next thing we're going to be doing, since we did that, and that went well, is that's the ring install. Next thing I work on will be putting the gasket on the head, lubricating the piston, putting the cylinder on, and putting this back together. Sorry, I got ahead of myself with a ring, so I'm going to cut this gasket out real quick. So I use Durco product to coat this. Any high temp gasket maker I've used different stuff in my life, it doesn't matter. I fell upon Durco a while ago. So I want to coat this and I'll put that on. That's the base gasket. I can change your squish. Some don't want it, some don't use it. They just use RTV. That's up to you. But I'm going to use it. Got my piston. This will hold my piston when I go to put it on. Sit on top of the gasket there. So I'm going to put a little bit of Durco on it, just so it impregnates it a little bit. Make sure my rings are centered to the pin like they're supposed to. I'll just put a little bit on this with my fingers without getting it all over the place. You don't need a whole lot, just need a little bit. Put this out of the way right now. Get a little bit on my finger. I'm just trying to coat it a little bit. I don't want to get carried away with it. I'll just help seal it. Stuff's very tacky. I don't want to rip it either. Some people back in the day use a soda can or a beer can for their base. Thin aluminum. Change the squish by a little bit. Like I said, I'm just putting a little bit on here just to get it tacky. That'll help pull it in place. Bring it back here. Don't get none on your piston. Do it carefully, you won't. Change my glove off. I got Durco on it. I love to have gloves, but man, when they get sticky, it's hard to use them. I mean, I don't care if I get ultra slick on me, but some people are anal. Alright, that's just so I can touch that. Okay, gasket's in place. Oh. I'll flip it around, I guess. I don't want to cooperate. There we go. There we go. One side thicker, the other didn't want to go quite right. There we go. Okay, got it. A little bit on the piston wall, we'll get it off. Okay, I got none on it. It's good. I got it off. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to coat the piston in Ultra Slick. Get some down in that bearing real quick. Either side. Got some. I'll go ahead and glue it down here. I like to go a little heavy with it when it first starts up. Actually, this stuff runs really well. I've had less issues starting them after coating them than most lubricants, even 2-cycle. I do a little bit in the piston wall. I just, because I'm going to run it with my drill to break it in. There we go. Alright, I got that done. Wear this glove again. Sub-compresses the pistons. That looks good. I did a test. So keep the piston from moving around as much as possible until I get it on. When you do this, you'll bring your piston tool down just over the top ring. Squeeze it, make sure it looks good. Make sure all your pins are good. And if you do, sorry about that. I'll show you. Okay, you want a little starting place for your cylinder. See on the side, just above that upper ring. Make sure she's centered good on the pin. She clamps down good for you. Bring your cylinder in right direction. Push it down under your stop, and then you're gonna center this. My big hands in the way here. Try it again. Sorry about that. Big hands out of the way, and you'll know you got it right. Now you have to take it back up, try again. Get that one ring started. Your tool will push down for you. There you go. Boom, cylinder's on. Now carefully, without hurting your gasket, pull your tool out. Bring your piston up a little bit, your cylinder up, keep it in there, reel in your gasket, and then push it down, and there you go. Get your tool to start your screws. You want to make sure you don't cut or your gasket's lined up right. You'll know it when you start with your fingers. I can see it. There we go. Put a little bit of Loctite, not a whole lot on these. I already put a little bit on there. I've never had cylinder bolts come back out on me, but never know, right? There you go. Start it. Just starting all the screws by hand. Tight area to work, right? Some of them will come through the cylinder, but not all of them. I got a long impact torch I use. Get down there. There we go. Cover your Durco back up quickly because this stuff. Squirt a little bit in the end so it gets up in the cap. So when you twist it off, it won't harden inside on you. I'm going to just take my impact tool and give it a couple bumps. Wrong way. Now, recheck the torque on it. And there we go. Helps if I get around the right one, right? Let's try it again. I can tell by years of doing this, just by the feel. And there we go. The cylinder's on. Next thing I like to do is I like to grab a hole here with my drill. I'll do another video on it, but I'll grab the clutch side with the drill, and then I'll spin it, and that'll work in the piston and the rings. And that's what I do. Oh, I thought I had the drill here. Sorry, I used it earlier. I'll just grab it. And I'm doing is spinning it. And when I do it for about 30 seconds to a minute, and I'm listen to any sounds, bearings, making sure that the rings and the piston are moving smoothly. Sounds good. And I'll just work it in. Before I start it up, I do this all the time. Very good. All right, so that's the phase of that reassembly and putting a cylinder on. That's a Stihl 034 converted to an 036, so you didn't know. I upgraded it because I couldn't find an 034 kit, but the 036 works, except for a little bit of bushing. Now, next videos I'll be installing the seals, and I'll put a little ultra slick on the bearings. I got to put in both sides of the seals, and I'll do that in next videos for you guys. All right, Henry Weiderman out. I hope this helps somebody.